Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a massive Birmingham Convention welcome for Emma Buckley.
My goodness, hi Em. Emma's always at the front supporting. Thank you. Hello everyone, have you enjoyed so far? Yes, I know. Mark Ledoux and Nijon, big shoes to fill, but we're going to try with our healthcare panel now. Before I bring my guests out, because let me tell you, this panel is going to really answer a lot of questions that I know a lot of you have. I like to delve deep into these questions, so I promise you'll get some answers. But I wanted just to bring you through some new support material that is available for you now as distributors. Firstly, this new presentation for the Children's Health Study, and secondly, a new booklet for Juice Plus Complete. So let's talk about the Children's Health Study. I know an awful lot of you use the Children's Health Study for your own family and for your customers as well. And in my opinion, I think the Children's Health Study is one of the best programs that the Juice Plus company have ever started. Would you agree? Yeah. I mean, really, it is allowing and inspiring families to take control of their health in a very simple way. Now, sometimes it takes a stranger or an outsider to flick our switch when it comes to that issue of health. As adults, we are in charge of our own health. We understand how important our health is. But for children rely on their parents and their guardians or their aunts and their uncles, the adults in their lives, to do the same for them, to safeguard their health. Sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong. Sometimes we think we're doing, things the right way and then, realize that we're not. And sometimes it takes a stranger like Jamie Oliver or another healthcare advocate to flick our switch. Let's hear from Jamie Oliver now. Let's watch a little VT of what he's doing.
And now, a brand new sneak peek from Jamie Oliver's Food Revolution.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, miss. There's loads to fix. The younger kids are really struggling, so I wanted to see if the kids even knew what fresh food looks like. Are you ready for my class?
We are ready. Welcome.
Thank you very much for letting me. How old are you guys?
6.
6? Wow. I love working with kids. Elementary school is where it's at. This is where you mold kids. We're going to do a little test. Right. Who knows what this is?
Potatoes.
Potato? So you think these are potatoes? Not potatoes, though.
I don't know.
Do you know what this is? No? Who knows what tomato ketchup is? Yeah, that's what it's made out of.
Oh, tomato ketchup? I know that one.
The test I did with the kids today was shocking. Immediately, you get a really clear sense of, do the kids know anything about where food comes from? Who knows what that is?
A pear.
A pear, no.
A turnip.
No. The answer today was no.
Wow. I don't know if some of you probably heard a couple of years ago, the USDA came out and said that a slice of pizza was considered a serving of vegetables because of the tomato sauce as the base. So go figure. Anyway, look, the stats are there, the facts are clear. There is an issue with children's health and children's nutrition. The obesity and overweight epidemic is still there. The numbers are stabilizing. I will say that. They are stabilizing. But there's still 1 in 5 children. And anecdotally, as I was walking around this lovely city earlier on, I saw that with my own eyes. And I'm sure you just have to see it. You see it yourselves as well. So what is the cause? Well, multifactorial. But it's mainly down to lack of exercise, lack of activity, because they're just on their gadgets, lack of good nutrition, lack of fruits and vegetables, and also down to not understanding or knowing, the parents not really understanding or knowing, so a lack of education about the importance of good diet. It's also probably convenience and mainly inclination, you know. These kids and parents like to taste these certain types of bad foods, and they just have created that palate. And one of the things that I do with the children that I work with in primary, in kindergarten level, is educate their palate. And, you know, expose them to different flavors, tastes, textures. Don't bias their palate with your palate. You know, they're open receptacles, and educating their palate for me is as important as educating and learning their ABCs and their 1, 2, 3s. What a gift to give a child that they can go and enjoy and know what a tomato is, you know. So why not be part of the solution to the problem? Inspire people, lead by example. Use the Children's Health Study as a really great gateway into introducing good nutrition, which is through Juice Plus, which is such an easy, convenient, free solution to the problem. When we think of the whole family and from a holistic perspective, monkey see, monkey do when it comes with children. Mom's doing it, dad's doing it, kid'll do it. It's an easy step. You know, and it's, as I say, for free. An adult can sponsor a child within their family to have Juice Plus for up to a year, up to 3 years, between the ages of 4 and 21. So, like, what's the problem? What's the excuse? There is none. You know, as I say, I really believe that the Children's Health Study is one of the best things that the Juice Plus company have ever done. They've taken the excuse out of the equation completely. All you have to do as a parent who's embarking on the program is to fill in a couple of questionnaires a year. It's just an observational study. There's no invasion or no invasive procedures like bloods taken or anything like that. It's a complete no-brainer. Here are some of the results from the hundreds of thousands of families who have been enjoying the Children's Health Study program over the last 10 years. There's something like over 700,000. In fact, that was like last year. I'm sure it's closer to 800,000 now. People over the last 10 years have been receiving Juice Plus through the Children's Health Study, and it's changing the health of these families. They are eating less fast food, they're eating more fruits and vegetables, they're drinking more water, they're moving more. But you know what I love the most is that they're more aware of their health. 90% more aware of their health. They've made the connection between good food and good health, which is just like the best gift you can give someone. When you empower them to understand that connection and choose then, therefore, for themselves good food because it makes them feel good. It's fantastic. So here you go. Let's try and get those statistics down. You know, let's try and remove the statistics of, you know, not understanding what a tomato is and not eating enough fruits and vegetables. Juice Plus can help with the deficit. You know, we say it bridges the gap. But what it does do as well is encourages an improved diet, because that's where we should be, you know, really focusing on as well. So you can see that the presentation, that you can use this presentation that I've just gone through yourselves when you're talking to somebody new about Juice Plus, when you're sharing information on the Children's Health Study. Of course you'll use my video with Jackson, who doesn't look like that, by the way, anymore. We'll have to do a new one. He's 7-year-old and missing his 2 front teeth, so it's funny. But you can use it. You have your pamphlet. You'll have a web presentation as well. So this is a really good tool for you to use. Would you agree? Great. Super duper. Now, I know a lot of you have been wanting this for a while. This has been 1.5 years in the making. I know, I've been part of it. The complete booklet for the plan that you've all been looking for, the official Juice Plus complete plan. What it is basically, let me go back to it again there. What it is basically about 15 pages, and it goes through what is a healthy lifestyle. So it tackles, you know, diet, good nutrition, your macronutrition, your carbohydrates, your fats, your proteins. It also tackles exercise, activity. It also tackles dealing with stress and rest, but also goal setting as well. So it's really this official Juice Plus company complete plan that you've been asking for the last number of years. We finally have it ready for publication as well. And this is something that you can use with your complete customers, because it shows how you can bring the complete suite of products, do you like that? The complete suite of products into somebody's life, and how they can incorporate it into their lifestyle. So finally that's available as well. Okay. Now, on to the fun bit. Well, not that it wasn't fun, but on to the real fun bit, the panel. I want to introduce you to Gary Giles, who is the Global Vice President of Product and Research at the Juice Plus company. This guy is really the product. So when you hear him speak, he is coming from a position of authority. Let me just give you his bio. He joined the Juice Plus company in 2006, serving as operations in the Far East, and then he stepped into his current role in 2011. He's the company's top technical officer, responsible for overall product-related leadership, including all research and development, the new products that you see rolling out, the manufacturing, compliance, all the work that Mark Ledoux is doing in NAI. Gary oversees all of that as well. So the compliance perspective, the quality control perspective, the consistency, all the clinical research as well. So with this massive role, you can understand how broad his role is. He has a global team based all over the world, in Europe and in the US and in Asia as well. I'd like for you to give a very big welcome to Gary Giles. Three. He's being greedy. Gary, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Great
this
to
is
be
fantastic to have you here, because, you know, to understand your role within the Juice Plus company and, you know, all of the importance that the product and the compliance that the product has to go through is just great to have your brain and to listen to you as well. I could listen to you for hours. But you were involved in a nutrition company before Juice Plus, so you know the business, you know the industry. What attracted you to the Juice Plus company?
Really, there were two things. I mean, fundamentally, I think any group you want to get involved with starts with people. So I spent a lot of time doing my homework on the people involved and the business model that they use. So I, at first, was a little skeptical, but the more homework I did, the more comfortable I became. And then I went to my wheelhouse, which is arguably product and product formulation, and that was pretty simple. I mean, all I had to do was look at our clinical research at the time. And, you know, I had been in the nutrition industry really since the early days in the mid to late 90s, which is when the worldwide nutritional supplement market started to grow. And I had never seen a body of research like this before. And there was none at that time, and there is none like what we have today. So that's really what got me over the hurdle and made joining the Juice Plus team pretty attractive.
Yeah. Talking about the research, you know, I want to talk about that in broad strokes, but from a quality control, from the manufacturing side of things, that's really how the research is able to be. Because you can't do research on a product that isn't the same over and over and over again.
True. So really making sure that we produce a quality product has a few key steps, and I'll just speak very high level to each of them. It all starts, of course, with selection of the ingredients. And we literally travel the world to personally put our eyeballs and our hands on the ingredients themselves. I mean, we climb trees, we roll in the dirt, we have all sorts of compromising videos of ourselves doing these things around the world, but it's critically important. So that's the starting point, selecting the right fruits and vegetables and the right ingredients that go into the product. The second thing is selecting the right partners. You know, Mark Ledoux was just out here. Mark has been our partner for 20 years. And when you have a partner who is emotionally and invested from a relationship aspect in your business, that trumps a transaction or a price any time. We've
Yeah.
never been hagglers, so we invest a lot there. And then, of course, come the very basics of hiring people who understand how to set specifications, how to manage those specifications, and make sure they're done exactly the way we want every single time.
I know, that's tough. It's tough to do, but it's been done.
It has been done.
Yeah. And that has allowed this body of research. I mean, the most researched nutritional supplement in the world.
By a long shot.
By a long shot, yeah. The others start, they'll never catch up.
Not a chance.
So tell
Not
me
on my watch.
Good. So tell me about the research. What excites you about it, and what would be your pet one if you had one?
Well, all of it.
Yeah.
But I think, for the benefit of our audience, if I were to summarize the research in layman's terms, because I'm not a PhD, I get to work with them all the time, and I have the unenviable task of translating their jargon into terms that people like me can understand.
Yeah.
Okay. But we have over 30 randomized clinical trials in our history. And for the benefit of the audience, the important thing to note there is that this is truly gold standard when you come to pharmaceutical level research. We started this years ago and we applied it to the nutrition world. We're talking about things like placebo control, double blinding, randomization. In other words, the participants in the study and the people administering the study don't know what's being given until everything's over and the data is tabulated. And it prevents opportunities for compromise. So, every study we do, those are table stakes. We fund, generally speaking, 1 or 2 studies a year.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, people come to us most often.
Yeah.
You asked my favorite study. I would probably say it would be the study we did at MD Anderson Cancer Center. And the reason for that, again, this speaks to maybe some members in the audience that have encountered this when talking about our complete product. This study measured quality of life markers on ovarian cancer patients and survivors at MD Anderson Cancer Center, one of the world's leading centers for cancer treatment. And one of the, things we'll hear out in the blogosphere is some knocks on soy. Anybody ever had somebody challenge them on soy? It happens. And meaning no disrespect to anyone in the audience who may have a different opinion, what I often do when I get that question, because these questions quite often come to me, is I say, look. What I really want to say is, look, knucklehead. One of the world's leading cancer treatment centers gave our soy-based beverage to their cancer patients. So, it usually takes the wind out of the sails.
Yeah.
But that's probably my favorite study because it's pretty comprehensive.
You mentioned the word fund, that you fund studies.
Indeed.
1 or 2 studies a year. And I know that although we have this gold standard peer-reviewed body of research, there are still people who will come up and say, hang on, it was funded by the company. That makes it unbiased, or that makes it biased, that makes it flawed. What do you say to that? And that's a quote.
Seriously, look.
So just explain how this world of science comes about. Like what?
Okay, well,
what's the protocol?
We'll have Dr. Dietrich here in a minute, who's going to be able to tell us himself because he can speak to that. But funding research is common, and frankly, thank God that it's common, because that is how we learn. Is that companies and institutions advance the cause of science by funding research. So we unabashedly and proudly fund clinical research.
Unabashedly and proudly. So someone says it to you guys, you go, great, isn't it? Yes, fantastic, and look what we have.
And just sort of stepping back from that for a minute, let's take, for example, Cambridge University here in the UK. It is ludicrous to think that an institution like Cambridge would compromise their integrity for a few £100,000 from the Juice Plus company. It's not going to happen. But nonetheless, even if that's not enough to get somebody to the point of understanding that that's really okay, I would refer them to these studies are double-blinded, placebo-controlled, randomized clinical trials that when they're done, go through a process of peer review. So another group of scientists from other institutions review the work.
Yeah, and the methodologies.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and quite often tear these guys apart and
Right.
decide if they want to publish it.
Yeah.
So there are a series of checks and balances that I think unquestionably validate our research.
We're going to bring out Professor Dietrich in a minute, but I just wanted to ask you lastly, Gary, about the upcoming research, because, I mean, this is something that is continuing.
Every year, and we travel the world to make sure that our research is the finest. I mean, I could talk about a few that most excite me. I mean, we have studies come in all the time, but 3 clinical trials I think are pretty exciting. The first one I just mentioned here at Cambridge. We have 9 studies to date that show Juice Plus improves markers of cardiovascular wellness. 9. This study will be the most comprehensive cardiovascular study we have ever done.
Okay.
We'll be looking at traditional markers of cardiovascular wellness, in addition, the lining of the carotid artery, but also we will have a component of the study that's called nutrigenomics, which is an emerging field. Dr. Eccles was talking about it just a moment ago. It's really where a person's genetic profile and nutrition intersect.
Yeah.
So very excited about that one. We expect that study to be completed later this year with some ability to discuss its results about this time next year.
Okay.
At the University of Newcastle in Australia, our second randomized trial that I'm excited about. If Cambridge is the most comprehensive cardiovascular study, this would be the most comprehensive inflammatory study. Okay. We have 4 studies to date that show Juice Plus reduces key markers of inflammation, and this will be more comprehensive. This will have a significant nutrigenomic profile. Why are we doing this? Nutrigenomics, and Dr. Eccles was starting to talk about this. When we talk about a person's genetic profile and nutrition intersecting, we're talking about gene expression along inflammatory pathways. And what we're looking for are secretions of enzymes and proteins that have roles in antioxidation and inflammation. So those are 2 very comprehensive studies that we have underway that should be done in about a year.
Yeah.
Lastly, I would say the study we've just signed up at the University of Memphis, our hometown. That was purely coincidence, I promise.
Didn't have to go too far.
No, but the research team is actually quite global. The principal investigator is from South Africa. And this is a study that will be studying an incredibly new field, a pioneering field, and is the role of Juice Plus in altering the microbiome.
Yeah.
And microbiome, for the benefit of our audience, is another way of saying healthy gut. Okay? And so many chronic conditions have their origin in the gut. And this will help us take a look at how Juice Plus alters that. And it will also include Complete.
Okay.
So those are the trials in the pipeline.
Yeah.
We have new ones coming every year. And
No sign of stopping.
no sign of stopping.
That's good, right? Yeah. Very good. Thank you, Gary. Now, one of the studies that has been underway for the last number of years, and by the way, the lifespan of these studies are years, aren't they? I mean,
In some cases, yeah.
They can take years to come to fruition for publication. And our next guest is Professor Thomas Dietrich, and he was the principal investigator in this study that was being conducted in the University of Birmingham. He's the head of the Department of Oral Surgery in the School of Dentistry at the University of Birmingham. He's a recognized clinical researcher and epidemiologist focusing mainly on oral disease and oral health outcomes and the efficacy of dental treatment modalities with respect to oral surgery and periodontology. Please welcome Professor Thomas Dietrich. Super. So
This is
Thomas,
the
thank
best
you.
welcome ever. Yeah.
It's a little different to probably the conferences you're used to presenting
it
at,
is.
but yeah, we like to have a lot of fun, don't we, guys? But no, in all seriousness, we want to talk about the research that you've been conducting here in the University of Birmingham. And I suppose why I'm so excited to have you here is that you really are truly independent of Juice Plus and the Juice Plus company. You're a scientist, you just wanted to get the facts. So how did you come across Juice Plus in the first place? How did this all come about?
Well, I came across Juice Plus because my colleague Ian Chappell, who is a periodontist here in Birmingham, had been involved in a study with Juice Plus and had
Right,
found
of
some
years ago.
encouraging results.
Yeah.
And the clinical problem that we have is, and probably many people in the audience can relate to it, is that when you take wisdom teeth out, which is one of the most common surgical procedures, then people can have a very bad time afterwards. So I've always been interested in explaining the morbidity, the surgical morbidity that comes with these procedures, and looking for ways to improve the healing. Mm-hmm. And because of the background that my colleague in the periodontal department had, and the encouraging results that he found in what he was looking at, we met and discussed things as it happens over a cup of tea. Yeah, and then the idea came about: why don't we look at this in the context of wisdom tooth surgery?
Okay.
And I was very skeptical, I have to say. So, we went through the painful process of collecting data in over 170 patients. So.
Yeah, that's a significant amount of people. It's not small pool. It's significant. And the findings, when Professor Dietrich and I spoke on the phone a couple of weeks ago, he said something to me. He's like, "I'm a surgeon. I believe in cold steel." Do you still stand true to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And you also said that the findings were you weren't expecting them as such, or that you were surprised when you saw the findings. So can you share that with our audience?
Yeah, I mean, we had, and Gary, you already alluded to randomized trials and how powerful they are. And obviously one important aspect is that you power these studies appropriately so that they're large enough to actually show clinically important effects if they in fact exist. And so that's why we ended up with a quite substantial sample of over 170 patients. And what we did is we randomized them to receive either the active Juice Plus, which was the fruit and vegetable combination, or a placebo, and they took that for 10 weeks prior to having the surgery. Mm-hmm. They had the surgery, we took blood samples and did all sorts of measures, and then we saw them back 2 days after the surgery and then 1 week after the surgery, which typically the recovery period is about a week. If you're unlucky, it can take a little longer. If you're lucky, you're back to normal after 3 days. And most people in the audience probably have had their experience with that. And we measured various outcomes. I mean, our primary outcome, which we pre-specified, was quality of life, which is an established, validated instrument that looks at how people do over the week. We also looked at trismus, because people can't open their mouth fully because of the swelling. So that obviously is not a pleasant thing if you can't open your mouth. And we looked at pain. Right? We recorded how many painkillers people were taking and how much pain they had. And the important thing is here that you blind people, that they don't know whether they're on the active component, whether they're on the placebo.
So that negates the placebo.
So there's no effect of people knowing what they have and bring their expectations into these outcomes. And lo and behold, at the end of it, when we looked at the results, there was a significant effect of the active Juice Plus. So people had a better quality of life, a significantly better quality of life, could open their mouth wider after 2 days, and reported less pain. And I have to admit, very surprised to see that. But I'm now a very happy investigator because...
I think the words were you fell off your chair.
Yeah, I almost literally fell off my chair, yeah.
And what does that mean to you? I mean, I suppose from a application for a general population perspective, I mean, you said to me that this wisdom tooth extraction is one of the most common surgeries that people will go through in their lives. So I suppose the impact of this is far and reaching.
I think the impact could be beyond wisdom tooth surgery, actually. I mean, yes, wisdom tooth surgery is probably the most common surgical procedure people have, because everybody sooner or later, has to see an oral surgeon most of the time.
You guys get a hard time, I'm telling you, it's not fair.
But actually, as we're now we're working on the publication on the paper, etc.
So when will we see it published, do you think?
We're hopefully will submit very soon, so I think it will be out in the public domain sometime next year. But I'm going to present the results. There's an abstract. I'm going to present the results the week after next in Boston at the biggest dental conference.
Hey, look at that.
So it is in the public domain.
Yes,
yeah.
Very good. Awesome. And does it mean now,
But it may have, if I can just add that, it might have obviously ramifications beyond the oral surgery, because actually there's surprisingly little, if any, work on the impact of micronutrients and nutrition on surgical mobility more generally.
Right.
We struggle to find actually any significant body of literature on that. So it could have ramifications beyond
we've done something,
the mouth.
Wound healing, and anecdotally, we all, if we're going through surgery, it's all like, take your Juice Plus, make sure, and that was only after 10 weeks, which is imagine, we know it's cumulative, but from an independent researcher perspective, can we, again, I just feel it's important in the last 3 minutes that we have on stage to hammer home how independent this study was, and your research being conducted was independent from Gary and Juice Plus.
How many times did I call you?
Who are you?
No, seriously, don't you think it's important to hear, from the horse's mouth?
I have to say that if you're funded by a public body, you get a lot more phone calls. So I never was called by NSA. There was in no way did they put any pressure on us or try to influence us in any way. It's completely independent. It was our idea. And you discussed funding. If there's no funding, there's no research. So someone who criticizes industry-funded research doesn't have a lot of credibility unless he brings the money himself.
Okay. Well, there you go. You heard it here, okay? That's how it's done, folks. That's how research is conducted, right? Gary, I know you mentioned the 3 studies that you're fond of, but I know that you're fond of this study.
I didn't want to steal his thunder, so
it's my favorite study.
You're happy with everything that's gone on in the University of Birmingham.
Thrilled. We just couldn't be happier.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great note to finish on, don't you, folks? Here you have it from the horse's mouth that the science that Juice Plus undergoes is gold standard. It is unbiased. The results speak for themselves. You heard it from an independent professor of oral surgery who's just gone through this whole process. You heard how diligent the Juice Plus company is from farm to capsule, of the consistency and the quality of the capsules that you enjoy every single day, and that you enjoy, and your family's health improving and your friends' health improving. So I think that we should give our guests another round of applause and applaud them for the work that they do that make our lives better. So well done. Thank you again. Thanks, everyone.